Kids and cadets, welcome back to Tommy Time. Thanks for coming out. It's pressure washer week. It seems we had gone through this DeWalt 3000. This thing was all locked up. Water in the cylinder, carburetor. So we got this thing to work surprisingly. I'm happy about it. Still got to deal with the blown out tire. Which side is it? It's this side here. It's blown out. But this was a package deal, 20 for this thing, 2012, I believe. And then this came in also local scrapper. He said this thing ran. So after the DeWalt success, I decided to come over and tackle this thing. It's the excell brand with the Honda, the model XR2500. Looks like it has a production date. Looks like 3rd month, 19th day, 03. It doesn't say DOM, there's just those 3 sets of numbers on the sticker. Scrapper said this one ran. Like somebody mentioned before in another post, that never trust anybody when they say it runs. But he wasn't lying. This thing ran. I hooked water up to it, choked it, switched on, and it started up and worked fine. So there's not much I can show you on this one. It was a working machine. Yeah, it's corresponding with, I think it's in 03. So while I had been messing with those, guy down the street who had brought some 2-cycle stuff for me to fix a couple weeks back, he dragged 2 pressure washers down. I says, do you want them fixed? He says, no, and walked away. So I think these are gimmies. So this one here, missing a cover in the filter, power washer brand 2600. So there was another one in that group, a Honda powered homelite. It's a 2700 PSI, 2.3 gallon. It's got the GCV 160. So I go to pull this thing over and it was locked up. So starting to do some troubleshooting. Pulled off the recoil to check the condition of that, and it's slow to retract. I can see the spring here is rusty. So I threw some oil on this thing to try to soften it up. Okay, there, we getting better action right there. So yeah, now we're cooking. Oops. No, we're not cooking. It needs some more oil. I have it sitting on my garbage can, letting the sun go to work on it. So we'll let that sit a little longer. So I tipped back the gas tank and I thought, oh boy, this thing's pretty rusty. Flywheel, coil. Check the oil. Looks fine, not contaminated. Took the plug out to try to see if it was filled with water like that DeWalt. It looked kind of dry, so I I blasted some air in, and I kept blasting out little chunks of salt. Kept blasting. So this thing was submerged. This happens to be, what do we have here? Emissions 2013 Honda engine. I'll give you this homelite. Consumer Products Division, Anderson, South Carolina. Assembled in USA with USA and foreign components. The Uniform Tango 80993 Frank. Maximum volume 2.3, maximum pressure 2700 psi, maximum temperature 104 degrees Fahrenheit. And so they got a date here, 11/11/13, serial number. Also, you don't need to know that. So then I went ahead after the plug came out. I thought, well, let's keep going. So there was a big line of white stuff here. So I gave it a little taste. I wasn't worried that it was some sort of toxic chemical, and it is salt. That's salt water residue right there. So pull that apart. Dyno's keeping track of the carb. You can see how corroded that is, and that's all locked up. So you could see the amount of salt. So I don't know if this thing's salvageable or not, but I'm going to try. I like to try to salvage turds. So what my process is going to be is I'm going to take my little eyedropper with the 50/50 acetone ATF. Just do some dropperfuls of concoction and drop it in the cylinder. Couldn't believe how much salt rocks were blasting out. I just took my hose and was blasting in there. You can get a good idea of what this thing has been through. Oh, I should be collecting this. I could go into business. Wow. That's really something. So just seeing the amount of salt coming out of this thing, I don't know. I might be wasting my time. So valve cover, probably take that off, and we're going to have the same situation. Because if it's this high, it's going to probably be in here. And do they got Honda Bond? Yeah, they used Honda Bond. So that's a bitch to get that cover off with Honda Bond. Let me get my big head in there. So neighbor probably was driving around, saw these two units and thought, hey, I know just the guy to dump these turds on. I thought this was going to be more promising because the high pressure hose here was either burnt or got worn down. I thought, oh, that's why they dumped it. Engine's fine. They just didn't know how to replace a high pressure hose. So there's no wand. This thing broke off up near the wand, it looks like, because there's quite a bit of hose on the tubing. So I don't know what happened here. So this thing's got a couple of different problems. Let me try blasting some air in here. At least it'll shake up that concoction. Okay, good. Intake valve's open. It's blasting the salt out. Somebody's pulling up. I gotta go. The new customer, possibly.